Well, good evening, everybody, and good morning for those of you in the Eurozone. My name is Riker Rider, and tonight
I,
I will be demonstrating the Super Mario Bros. 3 randomizer by F. Coughlin. The flag set we will be using tonight is going to be a variation on the bracket flags from the most recent tournament. We'll be using all the settings from the bracket flags, with the exception of hammers breaking locks being on.
and joining him on comms is, me, Much Paranoia, also known as It's Paranoia on Discord.
Both of us have been playing the randomizer for quite a while, so hopefully we'll be able to put on a good show for you tonight. And with that, how about we get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So you might notice that these world maps are kind of mutilated compared to their originals.
And that's because we have something known as World Shuffle
Oh,
on.
what a great
Hello!
What a great
Well,
start.
that Gooba just had to give you a hug.
A little bit.
Because, it's so excited to see this demonstrated here. But no, what we see here is a World Shuffle. All the worlds have been shuffled in order, except for World 8. It always comes at the end. All,
World's
all the
enemies, almost everything, actually.
thing, including the, levels positions on the world map. Those have all been shuffled, so those pipes we see, they go elsewhere. In fact, they don't even usually link to the same pipe they used to in the past. Only things that stay the same on the map are the start square and the castle.
That is correct, and it can make routing a bit of a chore, but as far as this randomizer goes, there's a lot less routing decisions, and these enemies, just why?
Every seed I play is filled to the brim with fire, so I'm glad to have my curse afflicting the seed. It's, fitting.
So the only real routing decisions you have to make are with pipes, because the locks on the world map have been randomly rearranged. Some of them might be, oh, lovely. I should have asked you to deal.
No, I mean, if I rolled a seed, this would have been the very first level anyway, so.
Let me see. Let me try this other fort, actually. Hello, seed? Excuse you, seed. I definitely should have asked you to deal this, because this is a mess.
This is beautiful.
Oh, this fort isn't that much better. At least it's easier.
I mean, it's not much better, but it's, safe. And that's what matters right now.
This is definitely a great example of just an early game mess that this randomizer tends to...
So, sometimes it gives you something very kind, sometimes it gives you this. Sometimes it gives you 6-6 as your first level.
This randomizer tends to be very difficult in the early game and gets easier as you go on and obtain items. And speaking of items, we will not see the end card game.
End card game has been shuffled out. Normally, when it's shuffled into a seed, all the items in there are randomized, and what you get from what you match is randomized, but we don't worry about that right now, because it's not here.
Having end cards off generally makes item management matter a little bit more.
And with hammers being in the mix of useful items for this seed, where you use those hammers really does matter.
Oh, absolutely. But typically the first world is pretty difficult. Now, hopefully that 7 Fort 2 is not required. Looks like it might be. There's a small chance it could be. If it's behind that one pipe, then yes.
If it's behind either of those two pipes, yes.
Well, of course it is.
Yep.
This is required.
Well, at least we have a power-up.
Yeah, because going through the stage without a power-up is just never fun.
Because you don't know how many fire flowers are going to be in here. How Temple of the Fire Flower is the Temple of the Fire Flower going to be today? We just don't know.
This is terrible.
Like, right here, this is very Temple of the Fire Flower.
It's not
But
quite
you pulled it off.
It's not quite as bad as I've seen it, but it's not very friendly. One of the options that I would like to see in a future version of the randomizer is to exclude certain stages from showing up early to be able to make this a little bit more beginner friendly.
Yeah, some sort of logic that keeps World 7, Fort 2 out of the first 4 worlds would be kind.
Not even the first 4, like just the first
Or like
world.
the first 2. First 1 world or first 2 worlds, yeah.
I don't care if that's slow, all you want in that stage is alive.
Alive and out of there, and hopefully never to see it again. Because, again, we won't.
But it's... I mean, I was the one who dealt this. I really should have asked somebody else to deal, but... Yep, there it is, that lovely required 7F2.
And now, here's the question. How heavy is Windy? And how many hits does she take? Because this is World 5 Fortress, which means she's on a not completely flat surface.
She is not.
So she's jumping around and she's heavy. She could stun lock real easy.
One hit works for me.
Oh, never mind. She's soft today.
So all the Koopa kids have a random number of hits required from 1 to 5, and they have a random chance of shaking the ground when they jump, which is fun to deal with if you're in specific arenas. You might also notice that most of the auto-scrollers have been removed, which makes this a lot faster, because Super Mario Bros. 3 is notorious for having tons and tons of auto-scrollers.
Yeah, that's a specific flag in the randomizer that just lets us say no to auto-scrollers.
Oh, here's another world that's really fun in this randomizer.
World 7, the other one where routing really matters, besides 8.
World 7 has... Oh, nice troll pipe. World 7 has 16 pipes, and you don't know which ones will take you to the right side.
Did you get a good look at what the castle required? We know that one Toad house just has a fortress lock in front of it, so we're not worried about that one. But do we know what's blocking the fortress, if anything?
I'll investigate that. Nice pipe. So a lot of your World 7 intelligence is going to be... Oh, that's useless too. A lot of your World 7 intelligence is going to be just checking all the pipes at the start of the seed. Because you need to figure out which one takes you to the end.
And then if we have something blocking the way and we don't know which fortress it is, it's, that gamble again.
Wait, this isn't... And it's very easy to get lost due to the number of pipes. Speaking of number of pipes... They're just all accessible, apparently. Okay, that'll take us to the end. One of the forts is required, though. So I will need to play a fortress. And because it's a bridge... And because it's a bridge instead of a...
Ooh, it's a maze fort.
Because it's a bridge instead of a locked door, we are going to be required to play one fort, even if we had a hammer.
Because a hammer cannot build a bridge. It can only break things. Right?
Correct.
Right. Now, this, for me, is my personal favorite fort in the game.
Yeah, this fort's awesome. No way. I don't even know if I'm gonna make the coin. No, I didn't even make that.
But yeah, but a lot of people call this trash fort.
It just takes a while. You know what? I'll at least get the consolation clip.
Beautiful.
That clip is free, by the way. All you have to do is just enter the door on its rightmost pixel possible.
And Boom Boom is down with 5 fireballs. Now, if this breaks that lock blocking the Mushroom House, Riker's going to have to go play. Ooh, so we can go straight to Ludwig. Well, after a couple levels.
After a couple stages, which I'm okay with these stages. Also, another thing that's been added to the randomizer are 8 beta stages. Now, of note, this is the only stage in the game that does not have its enemies randomized, and that's for technical reasons. currently, Fred has not figured out a way to randomize the enemies in this stage without it crashing, unfortunately.
The other thing is this is just Uncanny Valley 1-5. That said, this one and the particular other beta stage that Raiku's hoping not to see, but I'd love to, are, you know, they're there.
They're there.
The other one is one of the 2 unremoved auto scrollers, that and 5-9.
Oh, and of course I don't have any way to make this faster. 6-9 is one of those stages where if you see it, it's actually faster to take a death and use a P-Wing to get through this stage. Because we don't like Mario 3 water physics. We just don't.
And we only deal with it unless when we have to.
Oh, hello? Nice hitbox. I had to have been a pixel... that had to be a pixel above the platform.
Oh, Mario 3 hitboxes. We're probably going to see some of the fun of those if we get a high jump Ludwig.
Well, high jump any Koopa. I was mostly checking to see if I had a star there, because if you have a star, it makes the Piranha Plant levels pretty free. You can just go right through them.
And normally, with that music box, we would pop it here, but this is pretty early in the seed, and we're still item starved, so...
Speaking of stars...
Hey! You just asked for one.
Well, we do want to have one star and 1 hammer suit for the end of the game, but we'll cover that once we get to World 8.
What a very, very on-fire airship.
Well, it is the World 4 airship, which thankfully doesn't take 2.5 minutes like it does in vanilla.
Hello, Ludwig. How vanilla are you today? Well, you're heavy, but 2 hits.
I actually think that unless you have a really wonky arena like this one, the Earthquake Koopa Kids are actually easier to deal with because you can generally jump on them as soon as possible without having to deal with...
I mean, that's what makes Wendy, when she's like a 5-hit Earthquake Kid, very hard to deal with. Because,
it can be if you lose your... It can be if you don't have a power-up. But if you have good timing, the Earthquake ones are pretty easy to deal with, actually.
But if you mess up your timing, you're usually going to just get stun locked for a while.
Just get clobbered, yeah. What is with this world order? This world order is some of the worst possible.
Let's see, we've had 3, we've had 7, and now we have 5.
Now, 5 can be a little bit complicated. It depends on where this pipe takes us, because there are 2 pipes.
And it could just take us right across.
It could take us straight up. It could take us straight upstairs, which is where we want to go. Or it could take us across, which means we would have to play everything.
The other fun thing is it could just drop us down on the tower. Which we already see where it's at.
That's always possible. Fine, I'll wait for you if you want to be like that. Chain Chomps are terrible, terrible enemies.
Chain Chomp just wants to run free.
If this stage proves to be difficult, I might go back and... Yep. Of course, it's going to make me take the longest route possible through this world.
We at least know that there will not be a fortress blocking off the castle, but that's, small, that's small blessings.
It's like vanilla, almost.
Well, it is kind of vanilla. We have a, Lakitu just throwing, spinies at you.
Well, Lakitus are not randomized. Yet.
I know. But one day they may be.
I believe the reason why Lakitus are not randomized is because of sprite limitations. Okay, so this beta level is very interesting. Fred actually had to alter this beta level in the latest version to prevent soft locks, because in earlier versions of the game, if you jumped over the pipe, you could actually soft lock yourself on the left side of the screen because this level wraps horizontally. but that has been fixed in the latest version.
And in this version, that level is just incredibly free. You walk up, you go through the pipe. Well, not walk up, you swim up, but you know.
Oh, lovely.
Oh! Our favorite pals, Fire Bros on ice.
I love hitboxes in this game, don't you?
Oh, they've gotten me so often. But no, Fire Bros on ice is just about as bad a thing as you can see. Second to only to Fire Bros in water.
That's a fair trade, though. Clouds are pretty useful. So the way clouds are in this game is if you see a level you don't like, you can skip it.
Now, I was going to note that if you died here, there's a good chance I could just dance on your corpse for a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So, don't die. Good.
Yeah,
Got another star.
You can run through lives very, very quickly with a Hammer Brother that's uncooperative.
And with how this level is laid out, this world is laid out, you'd have to play through all those stages again if you game overed.
That is correct. Because if you take a game over, the only levels that actually get saved are fortress clears.
Which is like how the game, gave you checkpoints during the world in vanilla.
Correct.
You clear a fortress, and you can get through that point.
Correct, but when they're randomized, it's a little different.
Because we don't quite have those checkpoints, because they're usually used to gate off the castle directly. And let's see how kind this is going to be.
Oh, okay.
This upper map.
Works for me.
Yeah. I figured as much. It gave you like 4 levels in the way. No way of getting through this even quicker.
Works for me. Let's get out of here.
I believe this is the World 3 airship.
That is correct.
Which means we're going to have a Roy on flat ground, which isn't too threatening, especially if he's heavy.
Works for me. And this is what I mean. If you jump right at the Koopa Kid's peak of his jump, when you have a Koopa that causes earthquakes, you'll be able to jump on him as soon as he's vulnerable.
Yeah, that's just like very easy. And that was a 5-hit Roy. But again, the very flat ground for Koopalings who are heavy it's very obviously we're not designed for those sort of arenas because they just can't do much with it. King me. I guess we're playing checkers now.
All the messages are written by members of the community, and there are several hundred messages and dozens of authors that are all part of this community. I think I've got a couple of them in there myself.
And this is World 2, which isn't too bad.
So we also failed to mention that all the blocks that have power-ups are not randomized, but their contents are.
Which means they can contain anything that's almost anything, except for 1-ups normally, unless there's a 1-up in the level.
That is actually incorrect. It's by original type of block. So if you...
Oh.
So the only time you'll get an extra life from an item block,
As if it's in a block that an extra life can normally spawn from, I guess.
correct. I think I'm gonna skip this level. This is 5-3. This level's super long. And it's one of the best levels in the game to Cloud. I just really don't feel like dealing with it.
One of those very long levels, that 5-9, Atlantis, which has... Oh. Well, that's rude. Not terribly rude, but rude. I believe this is 6-1, isn't it?
That is. So the logic of the shuffler for all of the doors and locks and whatnot, it tries to make it so that if there is a door in the way, it skips at least, like, going around the door requires you to play at least 2 levels. And that's just so that we don't have really fast seeds. Like, it tries to do that to increase seed length. Because in the first version that Fred introduced the world map shuffle, we had 15-20 minute seeds.
Like, they were just jet seeds because of how the worlds could be laid out. And now the new logic, that changes, especially when you get to World 8, most of the time.
Yes, World 8 is what LOZ Cards fan likes to call the Great Equalizer. And it's very apparent why. World 8 has a lot of pipes. And
A lot of pipes and a lot of possible blockages.
a lot of pipes. It has, I want to say, 4 fortresses.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the artillery levels in World 8 get shuffled in, like this one.
Oh, we have Air Force.
Air Force is one of the most terrifying levels in the game, I think.
I cannot do this level fast. I have to take it slow, or otherwise I know I'm just going to plummet straight down.
I'm the same way. I don't like this level. In Vanilla 100%, you actually get an extra P-Wing that you can use on any level you like. Or any level you don't like, rather. And this is where I always use it.
And yeah, and this is, like, normally you can just P-Wing through the stage and not worry about anything, but since auto-scroller has been removed from this level, that's usually slower. So,
It is. But
take it.
Thankfully, this world was pretty short.
Not the level worlds we've seen before, with like World 5 just being very longish. We have the World 1 airship here, so we're going to have a very.
I'm starting to get a little bit scared of what levels we have to come, because we haven't seen too many nasty levels other than the first world. So they're all just waiting for us at the end of the game when we have no items.
And Morton's down already. We're not getting too.
We haven't had any Koopa Kids higher than, I think, 2 HP.
No, I think Roy took a few hits.
Oh, you're right.
Our
Roy
boy.
did. You're right, Roy did. Oh, this is one of my favorite community messages. This is a nod to the Legend of Zelda randomizer, which is also developed by F. Coughlin.
Dost thou love me? But thou must.
Oh, hi 6-6.
Speaking of 6-6.
You know the funny thing is we actually just got a frog suit, so if I die in this level, I'm gonna use it. Frog suits are one of those items that are only terribly useful if you know that you have a water level coming.
And, my fondest memories of 6-6 is that one weekly we had this when I was being restreamed. Or was I being restreamed? I can't remember, but either way, it happened during that race.
Well, I guess I'm using that frog suit. So one thing that makes this level so difficult is the randomized enemies. A lot of them can turn into bloopers and just other things you do not want to see.
Particularly lag bloopers, as I call them. The ones that just
Because a lot of underwater enemies are very, very unpredictable.
like superfish there.
But thankfully, a frog suit makes this level relatively easy, even if you take a hit towards the end. That is one of those levels you do not want to see early, because if you see that level early, it can just destroy your stock of lives.
Like, you don't want to see that level as your first level in the seed.
Oh,
that
no.
just feels real bad.
Oh no. Oh no, I have seen some very, very cool seeds from the most recent tournament in particular. We've had several tournaments for this over on Speed Gaming, and it's been... I've had some fun commentating some seeds that have just been miserable. Well, this is a very, very interesting layout. We could have...
I would go so far as to say I kind of hate this.
So there are two ways you can go through this fortress. The top route is faster, but the bottom route is safer, and it has a power-up. So you'll see most runners choose to go the bottom route.
You know, Raikou, we've seen two fortresses, and we've seen two blocks. There's still possibly for a third block to be blocking off the castle.
That's what I'm concerned about, is all these forts could wind up being required, because there's a fort behind a bridge. and there are very few locks accounted for.
Well, 2 of them have been accounted for. Yeah, this is just a rude-looking World 6. I love it. Why couldn't this popped up during the tournament?
Also, you might have noticed that I just skipped a Hammer Brother there. You can do that whenever there is a Hammer Brother that's on a portion of the map where the screen would transition. Oh, this is a very. Excuse me.
This is a very lovely enemy set. Tell me, do you like fire chomps and fire snakes and paragoombas?
Hello, game? Hello? I'm sorry, what did I ever do to you, Fred? This is not a very nice seed. I might ask you, May, to deal the next one when I play my next game after this, because this is terrible. This is one of those seeds that you want to see in, like, top 8 of brackets.
That you don't want to play yourself.
Exactly.
No, this seed is rude. I love it.
Well, by logic, this is required. So it just wants me to play everything, apparently.
It's Super Tanks, which is actually kind of it.
Yeah, Super Tanks is a level that you want to see early. You can get P-Speed a couple of different ways. The easiest way to get P-Speed involves doing a damage boost, but I don't have that option because I don't have any power-ups. The items in this, other than that cloud, haven't really been particularly kind. The P-Wing is nice, but we have not seen a single hammer. I mean, granted, I have been skipping a lot of Hammer Brothers.
Which is where all of your item stock is going to come from.
And that's one thing that I like about the bracket flags is when you turn the end card game on, it's pretty much always correct to play the end card game just because of the vast number of items you can potentially get from it. And the item pool from the end spade game does not change from card to card. It's set per seed.
So, and those can make or decide, yeah, this was like super required all 3 fortresses. Wow, port 6-3.
This one is, can we yell at Fred for this one? This is like almost vanilla.
Like, it's literally required to get to the end of the world. This is like super vanilla. And how?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. As long as have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen this room with 3 random hotfoots?
Yes, all the time.
So that room can be very, very dangerous depending on what's in there. There's a specific kind of hotfoot, which is the flame enemy that moves around on the floor of fortresses. And one of those varieties of enemies that's not used in the original game has random movement, which is really fun. You know how much we like random in execution-based video games. I mean, we like random when it shuffles things around. We just don't like enemies with random behavior.
Raikou, when's the all hands weekly race?
No.
I hear you need more random. Well, that was quick.
It was very quick.
Let me just going down in 1 hit.
Exactly, Human Mustard. Where are these hammers at?
But even how rude these worlds have been, we're still, 30 minutes in, 6 worlds deep is not bad for this flag set.
We've just finished 5, but you also have to remember World 8 is usually pretty long.
Yeah.
It's one of those worlds that, depending on how it's laid out... thanks, game. You're gonna make me go all the way. Like, this is pretty much the longest World 1 possible.
It absolutely requires you to go get that fortress tucked away up in the corner. Hello, Paragoomba, my favorites! I could write a long, angry rant on those Paragoombas. It would not scratch the surface of my feelings for them.
Oh no, the light-colored Paragoombas, I think, are some of the worst enemies in the game. Because since all the enemies are randomized and you have to react to them, most of the time your way that you would react to an enemy is to jump over it. But if you are running full speed when you reach one of those Paragoombas, you will jump right into them as they are jumping into you, just because of the way Mario's speed is compared to how they're programmed to jump when they spawn.
And they'll just flying kick Mario right in the face.
It's absolutely wonderful. And by wonderful, I mean you'll hate it. But
As we do.
did we mention all the space waffles have random directions too, so you can't just do the vanilla strategy for this, which is admittedly really cool and really easy.
You know, I think there was like a patch there for a little bit where there was like a random number of waffles around every waffle orb.
There was, yes. Where I think it was in like before 1-2, when Fred was messing around with some of the enemy spawns, he actually randomized which ones were singles and which ones were doubles. But now it's the same, it's just the rotation direction is randomized.
So it made some levels real interesting. Real interesting.
It definitely made some fortresses no fun allowed.
That was one of them.
I mean, that fortress is still no fun allowed if you ask me, because you can't do the vanilla speedrun strat, which is really cool looking and really free.
Hey, Boss Bass, you're in a level that we don't really care about you in. But we may see Skyfish in more dangerous locales soon enough.
Hopefully not. I don't want to deal with him.
Soon enough. Like a forced, I don't know, 7-5?
Well, actually, you know what's funny about 7-8 is that the randomizer generally makes this level easier than in vanilla.
Less fire piranhas, and really, if Boss Bass decides to cause trouble, there's a pipe you can just...
Paranoia, why did you open your big mouth?
But yeah, if Boss Bass shows up to cause trouble, you could just duck in that pipe, and he's no longer a problem.
Yes, but it's still the principle. Why did you open your big mouth?
Because I want to see more Boss Bass. We have not seen enough Boss Bass.
Here's the controller.
Give it here. Give me the Boss Bass.
Like, do you want to play the seed?
Later. Just lay it on me.
I am very disappointed I do not have a fire flower for this ship.
Just for the quick
Oh,
kill.
there's a hammer. About 5 worlds too late.
Let's see. Up next, because we've seen all the other worlds, is World 4, where that hammer is either going to be incredibly useful or incredibly useless.
And generally you want to use all of your level skipping items, such as clouds and hammers, by the time you get to World 8.
Because World 8 in this flag set is usually set up so that you're going to do at least 1 or 2 fortresses to get to Bowser anyway. Because Fred had made it so that World 8 can like spawn with like a randomly number needed of bridges needed to get to Bowser.
It used to be that those were locks, but Fred wanted to make this more interesting by there's our thick Larry. But as far as World 8 goes, the way Fred changed the system is what people used to do early on in this flag set is they would hoard their hammers until World 8 because of the large number of fortresses in World 8. If instead of having to build bridges, you could just open locks with hammers, all you would need to do is just find the path to the end.
The Dark Elf is on the throne. I repeat, the Dark Elf is on the throne.
The Dark Elf is on the throne. Please go away. I don't like you.
And that hammer's going to be useless. Look at that bridge needed. Well, that pipe is also useless.
So this means that our hammer may or may not be helpful in World 8. We'll see.
And now, here's the thing. We could need both of these fortresses still.
That's entirely possible, yeah.
Depending on if this fortress builds a bridge or not. And bridge building is a useful skill that not enough fortresses have.
Oh, hey, cool, I get to do my favorite thing in Randomizer. This ceiling up here is my favorite ceiling in this entire randomizer. This is why. That is the only ceiling in the entire game you can do that.
Also, the randomized orbs can be fun in this fortress too.
So the reason why that jumping thing works. The reason why that works is because it's actually pixel perfect fit. Also,
are we getting an orb? We're getting an orb. Orb.
Okay, cool. I don't have to play the rest of this world. I'm fine with that. So now that we're in the World 7 airship, we could probably start talking a little bit more in depth about World 8's mechanics.
Okay, so World 8 has 4 fortresses, one for each of the airships that would have a boom boom fight at the end of it, and one for the fortress itself, and 4 blockages. Now, I believe up to 3 can be blocking the way to Bowser, but there's still a possibility that all 4 are necessary.
Nice hitbox, Iggy.
Oh, Iggy, you and that high jump. And the other thing is since all the pipes are randomized and, placed out across the world, we're going to have to find the way to Bowser through those maze pipes. And sometimes it's real easy to find your way to Bowser and then look like he has, 30 things in the way of him, or, you do, one fortress, find the way to Bowser, and go oh, hey, we're here. There's no way to tell until you're actually in World 8 and you've seen the Valley of Bowser itself. And that right there is a good thing to see, is that, one hand level just off in its own little corner. Don't even have to worry about it.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to have to deal with those, because oftentimes in World 8, you can have to pass over those multiple times. And those of you not familiar with the vanilla game, every hand level has a 50% chance to grab you and force you to play it.
That has to be one of those favorite bugbears, is, at the end of the run, here's some RNG.
That's actually one reason why in the vanilla game I prefer 100% over Warpless, but that's another discussion for another day.
And
oh hey, there's the way to Bowser. So
we need one bridge.
One bridge. So when you have one bridge and you know where the pipe is early, the question is how many fortresses do you play?
Do you do all 4, or do you just do 1 or 2 and go back and check? And we have easy access to one right here.
Because you can lose a surprising amount of time from a just world map movement in this randomizer. And in more than one case in the tournament, it's been enough to make the difference in a race.
And speaking of hand RNG, I have seen that actually decide races before.
Oh, easily.
It's crazy.
Especially in earlier versions of the randomizer before we had the world map shuffle.
Where you had to go across the entire hand bridge or something you needed was at the end.
So one thing I've been... Okay, well we know that isn't it. That's a lot of locks. One thing I've been kind of begging Fred to work on for version 2.0... Oh. Okay.
Well, we found the other pipe.
So one thing I've been kind of begging Fred to work on for version 2.0 is shapes. If you know what I mean.
You mean how he has it set up for Zelda 1 rando, where each board is a random shape?
Yeah, could you imagine random overworld map shapes too?
I mean, I can. That also sounds like it'd be its own set of headaches to navigate. It would actually have some new, pathing decisions added into it.
Exactly. And making the player make more decisions is great for the randomizer, I feel. Alright, since we're so close to one of the pipes, this is why I'm going back to check this.
And really, we don't want to go through that entire hammerage just to get to that other fortress.
Okay, actually, we have confirmation that that's the correct one.
Because neither of those locks broke, and we saw one break earlier, so we know we have the way to Bowser.
Oh, and I have Hammer Suit too, so...
And a star.
Which is nice. So Bowser's Castle is the only stage in the game that plays mostly vanilla.
Mostly. We still have the randomized disco balls, but that's about it. And this little guy right here.
I'm a little disappointed 7-1 or 7-6 didn't show up, so I couldn't go for mac and cheese.
Get that one try clip every time.
And plus, those are just cool if you've never seen them. You can just skip the entire stage. And this is why you want to have a hammer suit.
Also, I believe just go up, walk the hall, hug the wall, and, throw hammers up into his teeth, and Bowser goes away.
Otherwise, Bowser takes 35 fireballs to kill.
Or you get to sit there for the, in time. Well, GG, Raikou.
Thanks. 40 minutes is a bit longer than normal for this flag set.
But this was a very rude seed, so that makes sense.
The first world was terrible, and the items weren't exactly giving. But once we got... That's typical of seeds, actually, is once you get past about World 3, is when you'll have an item... You'll be able to leverage items and have an actual good count of lives, because I was in lives trouble very early as well. But in any case, I'm going to set up for some A Link to the Past and Super Metroid crossover randomizer. If you have never seen this before, you're gonna love it. It's pretty mind-blowing.
And thank you for having me on with you.
You're welcome, anytime. So please give It's Paranoia a follow. He does this quite a bit.
And I do other things.
So you'll see me in a few minutes along with someone else. So I'll be back shortly.
And I'll see you all in chat.